Welcome to the deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Today we're going deep on Surya Roshni Ltd. And their Q2 FY25 results.
Looking forward to it.
It's always fascinating, getting under the hood of a company like this.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you've given us some great material to work with.
Yeah.
We've got the press release, of course,
The investor presentation.
and even their full financials.
It's all here.
So let's see what we can uncover together.
Let's do it.
Now, for our listeners who might not be familiar,
Yeah.
Surya Roshni Ltd. has been around for like over 50 years, right?
That's right. Founded back in 73.
Yeah, 1973. And they're a big deal in two pretty different fields.
Very different.
Steel pipes and strips.
Yep.
And then lighting and consumer durables.
Which is also known as FM Egg.
Right, FM Egg. That's quite a mix.
It is. It is.
I mean, steel pipes and light bulbs,
Well, it's all about diversification, right?
Right.
Not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Makes sense, yeah.
Eh,
Especially these days.
exactly. When one market's down, the other might be up.
So looking at their results, maybe we'll see that strategy in action.
Could be.
All right, headlines first. The big one, revenue's down overall.
Okay. Yeah, we see that.
But, and this is interesting, there's definitely more to it.
Always is.
So steel pipes, as you might expect with steel prices taking a nosedive,
Yeah,
that segment took a hit.
definitely.
But their lighting and consumer durables, FMEG,
Yeah.
had some wins, some areas where they actually bucked the trend.
Interesting.
So lots to unpack.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's start with steel. They're saying that HR steel prices dropped by like 7,500 rupees a ton.
Wow.
It's a huge drop.
Massive. Even for a company as efficient as Surya Roshni.
Right. So how did they manage? Did that just completely eat their profits?
Well, let's see. Their EBITDA per ton for this segment was 2,901 rupees.
Okay, 2,901. I mean, is that good? Is that bad?
Tough to say without context.
Right. Like, how does that compare to, say, previous quarters?
Exactly. Or to their competitors.
I mean, they are highlighting their order book, 550 crore rupees,
Okay, yeah, strong order book.
which they say shows, potential.
Interesting. They're emphasizing that.
Yeah. But I'm not seeing any direct comparisons to the past.
Maybe they're just being optimistic, hoping for a rebound in steel prices.
Right. Or maybe they managed to lock in some good contracts despite the downturn.
Could be. We'll have to keep digging.
They also mentioned this expansion project for GP and CR coils in Hindupur.
In Hindupur.
Yeah, that seems pretty bold given how tough the steel market is.
It does, doesn't it? Expanding when things are down can be risky.
Yeah, but it could also be a way to grab more market share when things turn around.
True.
I'd be curious to see how they're financing this.
And what it'll do to their debt.
Yeah,
Good point.
we should watch out for that.
Now they seem really proud of their exports.
Yeah, I see that here.
They're the #1 exporter of ERW pipes from India.
That's impressive. They even were at that big tube and pipe fair back in 23.
Right. Makes sense to focus on exports when the domestic market's shaky.
Spreads the risk.
Absolutely. But I wonder, do we know how their export margins compare to, domestic sales?
Good question. I'm not seeing that specifically.
Maybe we'll find it later.
Okay, let's shift gears.
To the brighter side.
Maybe.
Lighting and all that.
Yeah, lighting and consumer durables. What jumps out at you from these initial headlines?
Well, they actually managed to grow this segment.
They did.
Yeah. Despite, all the headwinds in the Indian economy.
Oh, right, the elections.
All of that, the heavy rainfall.
Flooding in some areas even.
Yeah, they even mentioned that. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
It really is.
Shows they've got a strong brand, a good network,
Resilience.
Exactly, they're weathering the storm.
Okay, so let's dig into the details here. I think there are some really interesting bright spots to uncover
Let's see.
in this segment specifically.
All right. They talk about their consumer lighting business,
Yeah.
Prices have been dropping,
Right.
but they have held steady on revenue.
Interesting.
It means they're selling more, right?
Yeah, that volume growth is pretty interesting.
Definitely.
It makes you wonder, are they taking customers from competitors, or is the whole market just, like, growing?
Yeah, good question.
I'd love to see some market data, just to get a sense of the bigger picture.
Me too. But they do give us some clues about, what's selling well.
Oh, yeah.
Professional lighting is a clear winner.
Makes sense.
Double-digit growth in the first half of FY25.
With all the infrastructure projects happening, right?
Exactly. And they even highlight some of their big projects in the presentation.
Oh, yeah, like the...
The Atal Setu Bridge.
That's right. And,
Sri Kedarnath Temple.
yes, all lit up by Surya Roshni.
It's a smart move,
Yeah.
subtly reminding investors that they're part of these, like, iconic landmarks.
Yeah, builds that brand association.
Right.
And it's not just the big projects, right?
Nope.
They're doing well with LED battens
Uh-huh.
and downlighters, too.
Especially those high wattage models.
Right. People want brighter lights, but also energy-efficient ones.
Makes sense.
Now, their fan business
Yeah.
had a bit of a slower quarter,
Mm-hmm.
but they say that was expected.
Okay.
And they're actually seeing strong demand for some specific models.
Oh, really? Which ones?
Table fans, pedestal fans, and wall fans.
Interesting.
I wonder if that's driven by, like regional weather patterns.
Like the-
Or maybe people are just, I don't know, shifting to smaller fans.
Yeah, maybe they're more portable.
Right.
Yeah.
Easier to move around.
It's a good reminder that even within, like, one product category,
Yeah,
there can be these, like, micro trends happening.
totally. You got to stay on top of it.
Absolutely. Now, they also mentioned that they're, getting ready for the festival season,
Right.
new appliance launches.
Makes sense.
Water heaters saw a big jump in volume, like 50%.
Wow. That's a lot.
It is.
So they're timing their launches to match, when people are buying.
Smart move.
Good inventory management.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they have this huge distribution network, right?
Massive.
Over 300,000 retail outlets,
Wow.
reaching all the way to rural areas.
That's how you capture those festival sales.
Totally. And they're not stopping there.
No.
They're making a big push into the whole FMAG market.
The broader market?
Yeah, especially with fans and appliances.
Okay.
They want to be a national brand
Ambitious.
with a focus on premium products.
That's a tough market, though.
It is very competitive,
Lots of players
but they seem to think they can, carve out a space for themselves.
with their brand and their network, maybe.
Right. And then there's this interesting move
Yeah.
into monoblock residential pumps.
Monoblocks.
Yeah, and they're tying this to, the government's Hargar Nalse Jal scheme.
Oh, right. The piped water initiative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every household.
That's smart.
Right. Aligning themselves with a national priority.
Could open doors to government contracts
Yeah, and it's a growing market.
driven by policy.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about, their products and their strategy,
Mm-hmm.
but let's look at their financials.
The numbers.
Yeah, time to put on our analyst hats.
Let's do it.
We know revenue's down overall,
Right.
but what about profitability?
And the balance sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What jumps out at you?
Well, first off, I got to say, I'm impressed by how transparent they are.
Yeah.
They break everything down, revenue, EBITDA, PBT, PATO.
For both Q2 and the first half of FY25.
That's a good sign.
It is.
Because they're not hiding anything.
Right. They're giving us the full picture.
Exactly. So what do you see in those numbers?
Well, as we expected, steel pipes and strips took a hit on profitability.
Okay.
Their EBITDA margin dropped quite a bit
How much?
from 5,104 rupees per metric ton in Q2 FY24
Okay.
to 2,901 in Q2 FY25.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a big drop.
But like we said, steel prices are down.
Right. It makes sense in that context.
What about their other segment? Lighting and all that.
That's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Their EBITDA margin only dipped slightly.
Really?
Yeah, from 9.3% in Q2 FY24
Okay.
to 9% in Q2 FY25.
So they're holding steady, relatively speaking.
Yeah, it seems like they're managing costs well in that FMIG business.
Yeah, maybe they have some pricing power.
Could be a combination.
Right. Probably. We'd need more details to know for sure.
Yeah. Now, what about their debt?
Ah, yes.
They make a big deal about their, quote, lean balance sheet
Right. Right.
in the investor presentation.
Well, let's see.
And their debt-to-equity ratio is super low.
Very healthy.
Gives them a lot of flexibility. With it.
Absolutely. They're not burdened by interest payments.
Especially important with interest rates going up.
Exactly. And they even declared an interim dividend.
Oh, wow. That's a good sign.
Shows confidence in their cash flow.
So, despite the revenue being down overall, there are definitely some positive takeaways.
For sure.
They're managing costs, maintaining profitability in their, FMEG business.
And they've got a solid balance sheet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But financial performance is just one part of the story.
Right.
What about their vision for the future?
Yeah. Where are they headed?
Let's dive into that.
Right.
It's like they're really plugged into what's happening in India.
Yeah, they seem to get it.
We talked about their focus on exports,
Right.
aligning with government programs like,
Hargar Nalsadal.
Hargar Nal Sijal,
That's the one?
and of course, participating in the PLI scheme.
Makes sense.
They're not just riding the wave,
No.
They're like
Uh-huh.
anticipating it, getting ahead of it.
They're shaping their strategy.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about what they're doing,
Yeah.
operationally, strategically.
And nuts and bolts.
But I'm curious, what about the market?
Ah, yes.
How have investors reacted to these Q2 results?
Well, the market's always a bit unpredictable in the short term.
True.
But it seems like overall, investors are seeing the potential here.
Yeah.
Their stock performance has been pretty stable.
Compared to, the rest of the market.
Exactly.
Huh.
Which suggests some confidence.
Makes sense.
They've got that resilient FMEG business, the strong balance sheet.
And they're making those smart investments for the future.
Right. And they've been good about communicating,
Oh, yeah.
detailed reports, investor presentations.
Its appearance.
It's key, especially when there are challenges.
They're not shying away from the tough stuff.
No, they address it head on.
Like the steel prices,
Yeah.
the competition in FMEG,
And the overall economic uncertainty, of course.
but then they balance it out, right?
Exactly.
Highlighting their strengths,
Strategy.
their vision.
It's a good approach, builds trust.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, look, we know there are challenges, but here's how we're handling them, and here's why we're optimistic.
Exactly.
Okay, before we wrap up, one last thought.
Go for it.
As Surya Roshni keeps growing, how do you see them balancing,
Yeah, balancing what?
their commitment to sustainability, social responsibility,
Right.
with these ambitious growth goals?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. It's easy to talk about doing good when times are good.
But when things get tough,
Yeah.
priorities can shift.
So how do you think they'll navigate that?
Well, I think they've already shown that they're serious about this stuff.
Yeah.
Even in a tough quarter, they're investing in renewable energy,
Reducing their footprint,
ethical sourcing.
supporting employees,
Yeah.
communities.
They're walking the walk.
It's not just lip service,
No, it's part of how they do business.
which is key for, real sustainability.
Absolutely. It can't just be about PR.
It's got to be in their DNA.
And I think they get that.
So you're optimistic.
I am. I think they're proving that you can do good and do well.
Win-win.
Exactly. Surya Roshni is a great example of that.
That's a great note to end on.
It is.
We've covered a lot today.
A lot.
Financials, strategies, their commitment to, making a positive impact.
It's been a fascinating deep dive.
It really has. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Surya Roshni Ltd.
My pleasure.
We'll be back soon with more deep dives into companies and trends that matter.
Stay tuned.
Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.